Oh yeah, no doubt. Hold on. No, no, no. What's That's what's happening. To the floor.
Yeah, huh. See, the measure of a man, huh? It ain't measured by feet or the dollars in your hand, huh? Cause first you need knowledge, and then you need wisdom for you to understand the measure of a man, huh?
It was like living in another time, back when no one locked their car or house doors, where adult neighbors were given permission to discipline kids that are out of order in their presence. We had a church, a juke joint, and a gas station. Several people sold candy, liquor, kerosene from their houses. There was even a couple of gambling houses. My first 10 years of life, we had no inside bathrooms, no running water in the house, and had to use an outhouse located behind each house. We had to pour water into the top of the outside pump to prime it. We washed clothes in a tub using a scrub board, and we hung the clothes on the line strung across the backyard to dry. We had no air conditioning, no central heating, and the TV only showed in black and white. Eventually, we got a telephone, which allowed you to move only about 4 feet from the base while talking. We would heat water and pour it in a wash tub to get a bath at nights, and we used the wash basin in the morning to wash our face in private areas before getting dressed to go to school or work.
Growing up in Pagolaville in the early 60s, we only had one high school, and that was Freehold Regional. The whole Western Monmouth District went there. This is where I was introduced to gymnastics. I excelled at the rings and the horse. And y'all know I was bad on the rings. Yeah. In those times, a lot of brothers and sisters were fighting for civil rights. Around that same time, I was a part of a singing group that included myself, 2 other Harrys, and my brothers Ben and Sonny.
My name is Gregory Hodge, and I grew up in Pagolaville. We all grew up out there, kids that had to work in the fields and stuff like that. I know Mr. Evans, Tyshawn, so to speak. He was the coolest dude I ever met in my life. One day we was on the school bus going to school, and he was on, like a dirt road. And we was on the bus, and the bus driver was, I guess, not paying attention or whatever. But he was coming down the lane with his Mustang, and he was moving pretty good. And there was a lot of dust. And before we know it, she hit the doggone telegram pole, and we all jumped out the bus and ran back home. And I told Harry the next day, well, the same day, I said, you made us have an accident. He said, I ain't do nothing, all I was doing was driving. And that was it. Yeah, man, he was the funniest, coolest guy I ever known in my life.
My name is Bobby Mayfield. I'm one of the many brothers of Harry Evans, better known as Tyshawn. A million memories came to my mind, but I couldn't think of how I could encapsulate them all. And then I thought about a poem that I once read. And that poem was by Linda Ellis, called The Dash Poem. I read of a man who stood to speak at a funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on the tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of birth and spoke the following dates with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represented all the time that Harry spent alive on earth. And now only those who loved him know what that life, that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash.
My name is John Mayfield. My big brother, Harry Douglas Evans. His name is changed to Tyshawn. Gave me my first understanding of how to process life. When I was just 9 years old, he told me things that was so far ahead of time that it just blows my mind now how a young man at that age could know so much way ahead of his time, so far that I couldn't figure it out until I'm about 60 years old. Wise young man, deep, spiritually in tune with the universe. So easily misunderstood because he was soft-spoken, easygoing, and a deep loving spirit in the earth. I saw him with the first beautiful car in saw, baby blue fastback Mustang, because he worked for the Ford Company. I saw him move into one of the most beautiful luxury apartments with all the fine furniture that goes with that, while we still lived in our houses with our houses in the back. He was my hero, my great preparer of knowledge and life, and I loved him tremendously all through my life, from day one to the final day. But I can't say I always understood him through all that process, but I know I loved him, and I always will. My brother Tyshawn, one of the most amazing people that you'll ever meet on the earth. To know him is to love him.
I wanted to take a few seconds to say a few words about my brother Tyshawn, or maybe your father, uncle. Tyshawn, in my eyes, was just a great man, an absolutely great man. I could probably spend 20 minutes at least telling you stories about the greatness of Tyshawn and how he impacted my life in so many ways. He charted his own path. He didn't follow a path that was made by others. He did lots of great things. But one thing that he did in particular, I just want to share really quickly, is that when our mother passed, he was the one that came to me. I was in my early 20s, and he came to me and comforted me and let me know that she wasn't gone and that she was me. I was a part of her. And that saying and him coming to me to let me know that, I think really sums up the beauty of my brother Tyshawn. Thank you.
When I think of my brother Tyshawn, my first thoughts are that he lived his life on his own terms. His spirit was energetic and celebratory. I remember a phone call. He called me one day and he was saying, that he was traveling all over the world. And I was perplexed because I knew his health was starting to fail. But they explained to me that he was doing this via internet. It was then that I realized that he was using the power of his mind to travel beyond what his ailments restricted him from. His excitement was no different than somebody that was actually physically traveling. So, I mean, that's a tribute to him. He just used his mind in such a way. Another time I remember is he spoke to me about energy and how energy never dies was at my mom's funeral. And I'll admit, I did not receive that or wasn't ready to accept it on that day. All I wanted to do was cry and grieve. But over time, I came to embrace it. And that's how I know that he's still right with us right now. His energy still thrives. I can hear him now saying, "Peace, lady. Love my brother." And I know he's always going to be here. So in salutation to him, I say peace.
So looking back, those years would quietly shape how I see the world, teaching me resilience, pride, and responsibility. And in 1968, I was drafted to the United States Army, where I met a brother by the name of Ken Du, who became my enlightener in the 5% Nation. There's where I gained knowledge of self and changed my attribute from Harry to Tyshawn, learning that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is the foundation of life. Sun, moon, and the stars.
Peace. My name is God Supreme. I would like to speak in the celebration of life on behalf of my brother God Tyshawn the Law, who has returned back to the essence, and his family also have my condolences. Tyshawn was a great God. He dealt with everything at hand the way how he's supposed to as a righteous man. He never bit his tongue for nobody. He always made sure he tell the truth, took care of his family, took care of his nation, and dealt with anything that was at hand. He also, if he knew that you needed something, he would take the shirt off his back and let you have it. And he will also, if he knew you didn't have a place to stay, would take you to his house and let you live right there until you got yourself right with his family and treat you as if you was one of them. He never bit his tongue for anything. He always told the truth regardless of what the cost. With that, I'll see you on the above, God. Peace.
My name is Dante Bell, the oldest son of Tyshawn. When I reflect on his life, I have to thank God for the most amazing brothers and sisters. He built an ecosystem focused on innovation and creative thinking. His greatest traits were a strong will and the art of persuasion. I am so proud and so happy that entrepreneurship runs through our veins. I wish my dad, Tyshawn, rest in peace.
Peace to one and all. My father, Tyshawn, lives his life enlightened by love, peace, happiness, freedom, justice, and equality for all human families on the planet Earth. He carried truth into the light at all times and shared it generously with his children and everyone he encountered. I am deeply grateful for everything he instilled in myself and my siblings. He had a profound love for the great outdoors and gifted us with unforgettable memories, traveling together from New Jersey to California several times, camping, fishing, and journeying from state to state. These moments brought us immense joy and will remain forever etched in our hearts. My father understood that energy cannot be destroyed, only transformed from one state to another. So although he has left us physically, his presence still remains here with us. So we will love him forever. Tyshawn cared for people from all walks of life and embraced humanity as one. I love my father from A to Z. One love forevermore, and thank all that sent out their good feelings and their immense hearts of love towards our dad. Peace.
Hey, family and friends, this is Nation Hornsby. Tyshawn Evans' third oldest son, fourth oldest child, and I have so many memories of my father, most of them with great joy and laughter. We had some challenges, but that's every family. And what I will say is this. Growing up, there were some things that were very particular for Dad. For instance, he did not appreciate anyone saying that they were sorry. I mean, if you said you were sorry for anything, he said, "You're not sorry." You know, he would prefer someone to say, "Excuse me," but to say sorry was not something to say to Tyshawn. The other thing that I will say is this, that while we grew up poor, we would not have known, or at least outside people, we knew, absolutely we knew that we were poor, but outside folks did not have a glimpse into the depths of our poverty for many reasons. First, we went on vacations, and many of the children in our neighborhood had never gone on a vacation. And my parents made sure that we went across the country twice growing up. We did so driving across the country. We saw most of the continental United States as children. Another thing that was very, deceptive for people was the fact that we always dressed well. We spoke extremely articulately, and that was because our parents pushed us. We had lessons that we had to learn, and we were constantly pushing the bounds on our own intellect, but also discourse in the house was always challenging theory, challenging ideas and notions. And so it was a very unorthodox relationship that we had with our parents and with our father in particular, where he spoke with us as adults from childhood. Now, the final thing that I'll say about my father for this occasion is that he was generous to a fault. We, as his children, my mother as his partner, and other women that were his partners over the years, I think everyone would agree that my father would give the shirt off of his back, but he would also give our shirts off of our backs to someone else in need. And while it was challenging growing up, experiencing so much hardship, I really appreciate and value that trait of humility, of service unto others, giving to others. And I pray that as I continue to live out these days, that I will emulate that same giving, caring spirit for others, recognizing that even in our hardship, on an individual level, there's always someone who is worse off. So with that, I'm signing off with much love for my father, Tyshawn Evans, Harry Douglas Evans. Love him for life, eternal.
Peace, my name is Weeshawn, and I want to talk a little bit about some of the things my father instilled in me that I hold dearly and that allowed me to be able to navigate my life in a way where I've been able to be productive in the construction trades as well as in the music industry. I remember one particular time my dad came home and he's yelling upstairs to all of us, me and my siblings, and he said, "Come downstairs now." So immediately I'm thinking, oh man, we're in trouble. So I didn't want to go down there first. And my brother Tyshawn, the oldest one that was in the house at the time, came downstairs and he sounded like he was joyful. So I was like, well, that sounds interesting. How about somebody else go down? Because I definitely wasn't going down there. I thought I was going to get whooped. So as everybody else started traversing down the stairs and they finally got down there, everybody's excited. I come down there and there's a whole bunch of instruments. Our dad went to a pawn shop and bought all types of woodwinds, brass, drums, percussion, violin, and he said, pick whatever instrument y'all want to play. So, of course, some of us took it to heart and really became serious about it, where we wanted to do that for a career. And that's just one of the things that I look at the character of that man, and I know that he had the greatest intent for all of us, in that he wanted us to be able to be greater than he was in respect to our achievements in life. And at the same time, he wanted us to be grounded so that we could do things for ourselves instead of having to depend on other people. There was another incident in which one day I was thinking about building a clubhouse because my brothers and I had already built a tree house, but it was really like a platform. It wasn't enclosed or anything. So I said, I want to do something a little bit safer. I want to build a clubhouse. So I gathered up all my younger siblings, went downstairs, got my dad's tools, and we just scavenged for wood, like wood that he had left over from job sites, or even some of the abandoned houses that were near us. We would take lumber out of those houses. And so we're in the process of building, and he comes home early one day. He says, what are y'all doing? I said, we're building a clubhouse. He said, you're building a clubhouse? He said, look, I don't mind you using my tools, but just make sure you use them properly. So he showed me how to set the gauge properly, how to measure properly. And so we continued on building our clubhouse. And one particular day, the inspector, the code enforcer came around, and he says to my dad, you can't have this here. You can't build a house on this property without getting permits and getting approval. So my dad turns to him and says, listen, this is not a house. This is a clubhouse. My children built it. So the man kind of stood back and he was like, your children built it? He said, yes. So the man asked us if we built it. We said, yes, we built it. He says, oh, it definitely has to come down because if some kids built this thing, this is definitely not safe. So here's what I'm going to do. I'll promise you, if I'm going to go to the end of your yard and I'm going to run at full speed and run myself into the structure, that if it partially comes down, you guys have to take all this stuff down, bundle it up, and leave it on the curb for the trash man to pick up. So he goes to the end of the yard, comes full force, and rammed it with his elbow and his shoulder, and almost threw his shoulder out of the socket. So at that point, he was like, okay, you can have it. It can stay. And that brings to mind the things that my dad always told us. He said, whatever you want to do in life, do what you want to do. Don't do things to just be a part of the crew and do what everybody else wants to do. Do things the way you want to do them and in time frame in which you want to do them, but always have a goal in mind. And that's something that me and my siblings took to heart, which is why his legacy is so elongated, because all of the values and who he was as a man is in all of us. And all of us use our skill sets to navigate the things that we have to navigate on a daily basis, and also allows us the opportunity and the ability to be able to show others some of the skill sets that we have, so that our legacy continues on as well through his legacy. And with that, I bid peace and love to everyone. Thank you.
Peace, family. My name is Gade, and I'm Tyshawn's son. I'm the one in the middleman. There were a couple of pivotal moments in my life I could recall specifically when, growing up, my father, when it was time to go school shopping, kids get book bags and stuff like such, common stuff. No, we got briefcases. We walked to school with briefcases, like businessmen. And at first, we thought it was strange, but when we got to school, the teachers and everybody else were like, man, these dudes have actual briefcases like they had when going on a business meeting or going to work, which actually he was setting us up to be businessmen in retrospect. So that small but different thing was a pivotal moment in my life to make me realize that being different is amazing. Being different is great. And the way he thought was different, which made us think different and move different than the average.
My father, Tyshawn, one of the greatest men that I ever known. And I was taught and raised on those principles that he lived by, those words that he lived by, which is love, peace, happiness, freedom, justice, and equality amongst all. And always have taught us to manifest, and do our best, and to be whatever it is that we want to be. And I represent that today. And it's an honor and it's a pleasure to say that I am Tyshawn's son, and I will carry his lineage on always. And his energy will always exist. That energy can never be created nor destroyed. And that's one of the things that he's always said to everyone who may not even understand that. But it's a reality for me, and it's one of the things that gives me peace. So I understand that I am my father, and I carry on that legacy and that lineage, and myself and my babies and my extended family, and I will always represent that. So I just want to say peace, Daddy. You did a phenomenal job, and I always take the best part, just like you always said. Take the best part, leave the rest alone. So I always carry that energy with me, that positive energy, and always manifest that. Thank you, Daddy. Pleasure, honor. Love you. Peace.
Peace, Pop. Miss you, man. Just want to thank you for this journey, 45 years on this planet, all of the knowledge and wisdom you instilled in me and my siblings, all of the time we spent together, especially in your last moments. I'm blessed to have been there. I'm gonna miss you, sir. It's a lot to say, but just want you to know that I'm gonna hold you down. I'm gonna hold your legacy down. I'm gonna do and be the better version of myself. So until we meet again, peace, Daddy. Love you.
What's up, family? My name is Keziah Hornsby. I am the youngest son of Tyshawn, and man, one of my greatest memories of my father is what he would do every year is he would get a couple of my brothers and I, and he would basically pull us in the room and say, hey, look, I got this money right here in my hand, and then I got this jar of change, and he would ask us to go ahead and choose which one we wanted. And so, of course, to typical child with, hey, give me the cash, give me the dollars, it looks like the most, but I remember the first time I did it, and I did it every time since, is I chose to change. And he said, okay, all right. And so we took it to the bank, we rolled it up, spent all day rolling up the coins, took it to the bank, and lo and behold, it was like $800 more than what he had in his hand in cash. And he would always just go about things in a very unique way like that, to teach you lessons that don't just go after what looks good, but go after the smart play and do your math and always understand what's happening around you. So always being knowledgeable and making wise decisions. And so, you know, that was one of the things that I've carried through my entire life. That and always just making sure that I go 150% with anything that I want to do, because we were always told as younger children and young adults that we could do anything we put our minds to. And that was so powerful. I tell that to my own children now, because I realized that it was something that wound up manifesting itself in us as adults, because now I don't question whether I can do something. It's just, do I want to do it? And then I figure out how and I do it. So with that being said, thank you for everything that you've given to us, Pops. And we love you. Peace.
My name is Tyshawn. I've had the blessing of experiencing all of my grandparents in my lifetime. Recently, my grandfather Tyshawn, known to all of his grandchildren as Pop Pop, recently passed on and transitioned back to the essence. One of the greatest things about life is we all experience each other differently. Each relationship holds its own memories, lessons, and moments. My strongest memories of Pop Pop are praise. He praised those around him, lifted you with affirmative words. He showed us how to stand tall, work hard, and take pride in our name. As the eldest grandchild, I carry that with honor. His name, lessons, and values. Pop Pop, thank you for your life that you lived, the love you gave, and the examples you set. Your spirit lives in us and your family forever.
Hi, I'm Imani. My fondest memories of Pop Pop were often when it was big family gatherings, parties, celebrations, things of that nature, holidays. I remember one particular instance was when I was about maybe 9 or 10, and we had a big party at my dad's house. Some of the adults were playing spades, and I was like, what is that? My dad was playing with Pop Pop and a couple other people. So I asked oh, can I learn? So Pop Pop said, yeah, but I won't be your partner. I have my partner. I remember that was really fun, learning how to play spades with Pop Pop and my dad. Another time, we were hanging out visiting one of the aunts, and Pop Pop and my dad were helping her build a deck in her backyard. And I just remember spending the day with Pop Pop, singing, laughing, talking. So my Pop Pop, he was music lover. He was funny. So I'm gonna miss him.
Similar to a tree, you judge a tree by the fruit that it bears. Now, when you're looking at a man and you're assessing what this individual brought into being through their offspring, but then through their own fruition as well, what things that they brought to the world and the people around them, but then also their children and then their children's children. To that point, I would say my grandfather was an outstanding individual because of the way that he made people feel, whoever was around him. For me personally, I would say that you had no biggest fan. I can recall any instance where I would bring something to show him, or even if he would see something that I had created, that I had worked on, you would hear and I'll use his voice. Oh man, that's bad right there. Oh man. You know, and it would just really make you feel, proud. It would definitely give you a sense of pride and give you that boost that you needed. And he was definitely a giving individual. Anytime we would come around as adolescents, as young children, we'd always be reaching into his pockets. Oh, let me see if I got some ducats for you. You know what I mean? Whether it was that, whether it was some food, some candy, some treats, you know what I mean? Just always giving, you know what I mean? And that's definitely what I will remember. My grandfather, Pop. Just a very talented, skilled individual. Sky's the limit. You couldn't tell him no, that he couldn't do something, that he couldn't make something come into being. And now that that's gone, there's sort of like a void there that for anyone is going to be big shoes to fill, can't be filled. You know what I mean? He's a one of one. And although we all are, you have to assess what an individual themselves brought to the table and what you're losing out. So hopefully anyone listening to this, you don't take those who you do have around you for granted, But his legacy lives on. His legacy lives on through us all. It's just like throwing a stone into a lake, and you have those ripples that are set into place. He definitely set some ripples into place that are going to have a great impact, that have already had a great impact, but that will continue to have an astounding impact based on those who those ripples touched. And then those people will go on to positively impact the world around us, so on and so forth. I can recall telling my grandfather that I was going to join the service, and he wasn't over the hills about it, and that's understandable, worrying about your loved one, especially at the time, during the time of war. But I know he was definitely proud of me being someone who was going to go forth and be of service to our country. So that's something that we definitely share, a bond that's unique between me and him. We know what it's like to wear the uniform and to serve with honor. And my hat's off. I salute my grandfather and thank him for his service to our nation. And he will forever be missed, but he definitely, as I stated, lives on inside of me and through us all.
Hi, my name is McKenna Hornsby, granddaughter of Pop Pop, aka Pop Pop's Meatball. One of my greatest memories of Pop Pop is when every time my birthday came around, every year, he would call me and ask me how I'm doing in school and encourage me to get better and give me ducats as a reward. I'm gonna miss him. I love you, Pop Pop.
Y'all ain't right.
We all make mistakes as parents. Nobody's perfect. We can't look for perfection. Oh, no, that's the big thing. I was back with the right because no one's true. You in your message, but he raised genius. Yes, he did. That's one in our experience. And your wife, the spouses that you all have chosen, are our ladies. They stick the final guides and make sure that the entrepreneurship that has been instilled in you become profitable. I thank you guys for inviting me. I have a family, love you.
Yeah, check. Turn it up. Okay. Hey Weezy, I told you. Hey Pops, we got you. Peace. Check it. It's the return of the bohemian, prodigal son of Phoenix. I rose from the ash fiend and the jump in the lab and steam it. Passion, poetic, genius, a pen and pad, a pelagic. See, it's been a minute. I took the road that was scenic. Now I'm back. Pockets is fat. Yours looking bulimic. Some things they never change. That trash getting deleted and it still ain't sweet out here. It's hypoglycemic. Yeah, this here is grown man's land. I've been seen in this since way back then. At age 10, I ain't believe it, cause that Roddy Rod's just another cover for your feminisms. And when it come to beef, you fall apart like tendonisms. Now you act like you don't know, that's anti-Semitism. And the way I hit them with the rhythm cause a cataclysm. The big bad wolf in a slick black Porsche, or on an island smiling, riding on a racetrack horse. My children educated, reading through some thick stack books. My wife meditating, gorgeous with a thick fat tush. But don't look, my land spread like the Serengeti, so I stay ready with machetes if they try to come and arm and get me. I'm heavy.